Yeah, I would too.
Coming in at number 8.
We all would.
Yeah.
The guy who hasn't thrown for 300 yards in 23 games, it's Aaron Rodgers. Now, here's the interesting part of the survey. Jeremy Fowler writing, while Rodgers appeared on fewer than 60% of the ballots, nearly half of those ballots placed Rodgers in the top 5. So small but passionate. Quarterback purists still love him. Does Rodgers deserve to be at number 8, Brew?
I don't think so. I mean, obviously, they're just giving him respect for a great career and hoping he can do it again. But based on the last time we saw him, you can't have him in the top. And based on his age, being 40, and he's coming off the Achilles injury.
When you say the last time we saw him, you don't mean the Jets.
Not the Jets, right. I mean, that was
2022, we have
2022, here we go.
Yeah.
This is since he's become a starter in the league, which is the last 13 seasons. His last year in Green Bay, worst yards per game, worst passer rating, and second worst in all these other things. TDs, interceptions, yards per attempt. So
Okay, to be clear, that's not in the league. That's his worst. His second worst, tied for second worst. Not in the NFL as a whole.
Appears to be on the decline, and I know a lot of people say, well, he
That
appears to be on the decline 5 years ago and came back with 2 MVP seasons, but he's now 40, coming off a serious injury.
And if I can add to it, I think we all had a similar version of that graphic. I want to show mine, which is instead of where it ranked for his career, where it ranked in the league. So no one has adequately explained to me how, let's just all pretend the Achilles injury didn't happen. Why would you expect a 40-year-old to be better with Bob Saleh and Nat Hackett 2 years from the previous year where he played full-time when he was below average?
They're going to claim that thumb injury. Remember, it was kind of like that mysterious.
No, I get it, but that same year,
he didn't really even use that as
and also, by the end, here's the problem with the thumb injury part of it. Because there's two things. People say thumb injury, and the other thing people will be like, oh, actually, the thing was this crazy thing. He didn't care.
Yeah.
He was not motivated. He actually didn't care, just wanted the money, but now he cares again. Do we think the thumb was as healthy as it was for months the final game of the year? Yes, because they were on that winning streak. Do we think in that final game of the regular season, at home against a divisional rival, he was peak motivated? Yes.
Yep.
How did that game end? The way so many of the most recent big games from Aaron have ended, with this just prayer ball, no reason, plenty of time, down 4, opportunity. Again, if you don't remember the context, that was Sunday Night Football because it was winning, you're in for them. In that game, he threw for 200 yards, had 1 touchdown, that pick, an 83 rating, was 17 of 27. You can't convince me that that player is now all of a sudden great. He once was great. And then when you add to it, oh yeah, and what happened in the meantime? He tore his Achilles tendon. How that guy is considered, by, as you put, a lot of these guys, a top 5 quarterback is wish casting.
Well, he has to prove it. At the very least, it's like, you got to go out and prove it. We're not going to assume you're going to be the old, great Aaron Rodgers until we see it again.
Yeah. Are you talking about
Okay, I just think this whole conversation about Aaron is just getting so absurd to me for so many different reasons, because let's not act like that team was this like great roster with the Packers. Yes, he was unhappy. Yes, he was unhappy with not only just being in Green Bay, but he also wasn't happy with the players that he had on that team, and he was injured. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is still a human being, okay? So he's going to have those issues. So just to use like that random throw against the Lions as an indicator for why he's not good, that's just silly. I mean, that's just absurd. I mean, it really, really is. The 49ers absolutely could have beaten the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, right? Without a doubt. And yet, what are we just going to show that Super Bowl of Patrick Mahomes, throwing that interception and being like, see, look at this interception that he threw. It just is dumb. Just because the Packers were able to pull off that win means that it's just like, that's because Aaron's no longer good and there you go, he's trash. No, that's not accurate at all. This is the whole thing with Aaron. People are forgetting just how great Aaron Rodgers really, really is. And this is why Aaron was so unhappy near the end of Green Bay, his time in Green Bay, and why he doesn't like, with younger players. Because Aaron's success, as much as they say, Nick says someone like a Brock Purdy is so reliant on Shanahan and the players around him and the scheme and the offense and all of that to make Brock Purdy shine. It's the exact opposite with Aaron Rodgers. Like, if that's true about Brock Purdy, which I'm not saying it is or it isn't, but in this example, let's just say it is, it's the exact opposite for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers just needs his receivers and, let's just say his weapons as a whole, not just receivers, his weapons as a whole. He just needs them to be able to do their job. As long as they run the correct route and actually catch the ball, Aaron's arm and accuracy and reads, he takes care of the rest. He doesn't need a perfect offense, perfect, everything to be schemed open perfectly. He doesn't need to throw to wide open receivers. He doesn't need to be able to throw the ball 2 feet, 2 yards and have the pass catcher take care of everything else. He doesn't need that to succeed, right? He just needs the basics. And that's actually kind of where Green Bay kind of did him wrong, right? They didn't do enough to support him over those years. He was stuck with Mike McCarthy over the years. So I just think it's just disingenuous. I understand if you want to still make the argument that you just don't think the Jets are a good enough team. Okay, I'm okay with that. I disagree with that wholeheartedly, but at least the argument can make some logical sense. But it's illogical to just say because Aaron Rodgers is old and got injured means he's just no longer a great quarterback. I reject that. And just because you say, well, there's no reason for us to believe, well, there's no reason for us not to believe either. Because the evidence you're presenting is just not really that evidence-based. It's just kind of nonsense. Because, again, and proof of this is, let's just take Patrick Mahomes' numbers last season. They were down. Under his logic, then we would have to assume that trajectory is going to continue. That's the way it works then. If you're going to use those numbers, if you're going to live and die by the numbers and say, well, this is the last time we saw him, and this is what his numbers looked like, therefore he's not going to be as good, then you have to say the exact same thing about all other quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes included. That's just the way it works. So that's why I just reject that. If you want to say, listen, I have no idea, I respect more people saying I have no idea where to rank Aaron. Rather than just say he's definitely not top 10 or he's 100% this, I'd rather you just say I don't know. Honestly, I really don't know. I think he's a great all-time great quarterback, but because of the injuries and because he kind of maybe had a rocky last season with the Packers, I really have no idea what he's going to look like this season. I respect that way more than this emphatic 1,000%. He is not 8. He is, 12, 13, 14, 15, whatever. There's no reason to believe that he's going to be good. Because that's just nonsense. That's hedging your bets. You're saying this guy's 40, he's been injured. There's definitely a good chance that he's not going to be great. So I'm just going to slam down and say he's not great, he's not great, not great. And so on the off chance that he ends up not being great, I get to say, I told you so. You all were trying to say that he's great. It's just showmanship at that point. And I'd rather get like an actual honest opinion. Because it seems like this whole table is kind of anti-Aaron at this point, for sure. It seemed like Brew was at least kind of holding out for a little bit. And that's what kind of, in a way, Brew said, where he goes, you have to prove it to us. But then, like, every quarterback has to prove it to you. So it is so fascinating to see Aaron's public perception fall from grace. It'll be interesting to see what he does post-football. Because especially it seems like he has... I want to try to use apolitical language here, but it just seems like there's a big section of, let's just say the country, I suppose, the world as a whole, they don't agree with Aaron, and because of that, they don't want to give him any benefit of the doubt, any grace. But there's still a massive section that clearly does support Aaron and believe in Aaron, and that's why he kind of ends up in the middle somewhere, right? He consistently kind of ends up in the middle. By definition, he is divisive, right? And it's just people are very divided on him because they either love him or absolutely hate him. And ironically, I don't love or hate him. Like, I don't care about his politics. I don't pay attention to any of that type of stuff. I don't think he's the greatest quarterback to ever live. Like, every time I make a Packers video, an Aaron Rodgers video, people will, automatically assume I'm like some Aaron Rodgers homer or this or that. And it's like, no, I just try to give as honest feedback and critical analysis as I possibly can. And this is just the way I see it. I don't think that there's any evidence to believe that Aaron Rodgers will not be a top quarterback, because I think he's going to execute the Jets offense at a very high level. I really, really do. And I think we'll be able to take advantage of complementary football with a great defense. And I think this idea that he's not going to be able to be a top quarterback in the NFL that's more wishful thinking than not. They love to just say, oh, his Achilles, he's 40, he's this, he's that. Well, we're just going to have to wait and see. And it's because we've been speculating about Aaron Rodgers, what Aaron Rodgers is going to do since what was it, September, right? You know, whenever his official injury happened, we've been speculating, what will he be? As soon as he got injured, all the talk was, will he recover? Will he be able to play another year? And if he does, what will he look like? And so we've been doing this for a little under a year now. And so I just can't wait to finally see what he looks like. And I really believe that he will be a top quarterback. Whether he ends up officially in the top 10, top 8, whatever, is irrelevant to me. He's going to be a quarterback that no team is going to be like, oh, thank God, at least we're facing Aaron. It's going to be like, yo, we're facing Aaron. At any moment, he can do anything. Like, you're going to be like, yeah, that's Aaron. I got to respect him. And that's the difference. You have two quarterbacks in the NFL ultimately. A quarterback that you actually have to truly respect, and a quarterback that you don't have to respect at all. Aaron Rodgers is still the quarterback that you have to respect. That's what it comes down to. It's very binary. Yes or no. He's yes. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Do you think Aaron Rodgers deserved to be number 1? Do you think he's top 10 overall? Do you think he's not? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.